What's up guys, I'm BTC. There are some common myths in Overwatch that just won't go away. So today, I'm gonna bust the most common myths in Overwatch. Some of these are incredibly frustrating because they keep popping up time and time again. I see them in the comment section of a video, on the official Overwatch forums, or even in the game. They just won't go away. And the problem is that players are making gameplay decisions based on bad info, which in turn makes their gameplay a little bit worse. So let's fix this. If you see anyone talking about these myths, point him to this video so that way we can get rid of them once and for all. The first and probably most common is that you can speed up your standard reload by animation canceling it in the middle with another ability or a quick melee. No, you cannot speed up your standard reload. Animation canceling does absolutely nothing to change the time on it. Now, you can squeeze in some extra damage by using an ability or a quick melee for sure, but it doesn't change the time of the reload. It will always be the same. The next myth has to deal with giving armor to a character that has shields, like Zarya, Symmetra, or Zenyatta. The idea is that because they're losing their shield first, they're going to get the benefit of the damage reduction from the armor for the entire time that they have it, even when they're only taking shield damage. That's not what happens. In order for the armor damage reduction to take effect, you have to lose at least 1 point of armor. So if Zarya is taking damage, but it's only chipping away her shields, then there is no extra damage reduction that is applied until that damage starts chipping into the armor. Now, there is a tiny bit of a benefit to this, in that it allows those characters to keep the armor longer, because with other characters that have just white health, what's going to happen is the armor gets taken away first. But because characters like Zarya have shielding, if they're only taking a little bit of chip damage, then they'll lose the shield and then the shield will recharge, allowing them to have the armor for a later point when they actually take more sustained high amounts of damage. In short, they can keep the armor longer, but it only applies the damage reduction when some of the armor is also taken away. A yellow arrow above the teammate's head means that they're low on health or that they're in combat. No and not really. So as you can hear, Soldier is attacking the Roadhog. He is currently in combat, but the little arrow isn't changing color. Now the Roadhog has attacked Soldier, his silhouette changes color, and the arrow does as well. Soldier now heals back to full and he turns green, but the arrow is still yellow. What the yellow arrow actually means isn't that your teammate is in combat, it means that they've taken some amount of damage in the last few seconds. But this damage can be as low as even 1. The next myth is that jumping with a Riptire will do less damage. No. While there is fall off on the Riptire, meaning the further away you are, the less damage you take, jumping has no impact on this if both the tire and the character are on the same level. The only time you will do less damage by jumping is if the target is directly below you and you try to jump over their head. Then and only then will you do less damage because you're putting additional distance between you and the top of the enemy character. But if it's side by side, it's not going to impact it at all. Moira's Fade Boost and Brigitte's Shield Boost were removed from the game. No and no. I use Moira's Fade Boost all the time, and while Brigitte's Shield Boost was nerfed, it's still there, and you can still do quite a few jumps with it. The next myth is really annoying, and I don't understand why it keeps popping up. The myth is that Zenyatta cannot use his healing orb on a teammate that is behind an enemy barrier. No, that's not the case. He absolutely can use the healing orb on any teammate, even if they're behind an enemy barrier. He can move it to different targets, it will stay there no matter what until the target dies, he dies, or they break line of sight. An enemy barrier in the way has absolutely no impact on the healing orb whatsoever. I don't know who keeps pushing this myth, but it keeps coming up, anyone who has played Zenyatta for more than 5 seconds knows that you can heal through an enemy barrier. Now, the Discord orb, however, is different. You cannot place it on an enemy if they're behind an enemy barrier, but if it's already on them, then it will stay on them. So the barrier will block the initial placement, but it doesn't keep it from staying on an enemy. Maybe that's where the confusion comes from, but in either case, now you know. Winston's primary attack can only damage up to 3 enemies at a time. No. Let me show you. So Winston's primary attack does 60 damage per second. He has 100 total ammo. If you were to hit something from start to finish until you need to reload, it's going to be 300 total damage. So what I did was I changed the tracer health from 150 and I doubled it up to 300. That means if I expend the entire duration of Winston's ammo, the instant I run out, the tracer will die. Now let me quickly show you what happens with 2 tracers and then 3 tracers. As you can see, they all die at the exact same time. Now let's look at 4, 5, and 6. If the myth was true, then some of the tracers would end up surviving, because either the attack is going to lock onto the same 3 for the entire duration, or it's going to switch back and forth, in which case some of them won't have the full 300 damage needed in order to get the elimination. But as you can see, even with 6 tracers, they all die at the exact same moment. There is no cap. It doesn't matter how much stuff is in front of Winston. If it's in that damage cone, it's going to get hit.
Next couple kills.
And speaking of Winston, and we'll throw Moira in there as well, the myth of soft lock-on attacks. Now, I'm not going to talk about it in this video because I already made a video completely breaking down and debunking the soft lock-on abilities. I'll put a link to that on screen and down below so you can go and check that out. And remember guys, if you see anyone trying to push any of these myths, just point them to the video and let's get this taken out once and for all. Thanks for watching, and if you'd like to see more, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, come hang out in my Discord server and my Twitch live stream. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see what kind of cool VIP rewards you can get, check the links down below. And remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault.